What's up, everybody? Ben Barrows, aka Random Crown, back for part 3 of the $27 6 Max Turbo Progressive KO on PokerStars. Now we have Ace Deuce on the button, and if you guys haven't seen any of the previous parts, I recommend checking them out before proceeding with this so you are all caught up as to where we are at. Now we have Jack King under the gun +1. We ship it in for 17 blinds, cut off calls, and we flop a Jack, and fortunately get there against Ace 10 to double up. Kind of a loose shove there with 4 people left to act, but it's just gonna have good enough equity when called. We'll be flipping against a lot of their range, so it's a good stack size and hand to try and gamble with. And we'll just ship the blinds a lot as well, which is pretty significant at this stage of the tournament. There's already 4,500 in there, and we have 35k, so that's more than 10% of our stack. So I mean that it's worth it, since we'll just ship the pleasies a lot, and that'll be a substantial increase. Plus, the fact that our equity is decent when called makes it a fine play. We have aces in the BB. Button opens, and we 3-bet to about 2.5x, and they just fold. And King Queen suited on the button. Under the gun opens, we flat. BB defends, we get a Queen high board, Queen 5-4, 2 hearts. Under the gun, see if it's a quarter pot, we call, BB calls. Turn pairs the 5, check check, we bet about a third pot for value and protection. Just take it down. I think we could bet a bit more, maybe like 15k up to 20k. That way we price out flush draws. Because when we bet 10k into 36k, it's 10k for them to call like 46, and they're getting more than the 4 to 1 necessary to draw to their flush. But by betting so small, we're able to keep in like worse hands too, like pairs under queens. Now we raise ace 2 suited on the cutoff. Button in both blinds call, we get a 6-8-9-2 spade board. We just completely miss, so we check fold. We get a king queen of clubs. Under the gun, easy open. Ship the bleezies. Get jack 8 here in the BBZ. Facing a cutoff open, we defend. Get a 9-9 ace rainbow board. Check check, 7 on the turn. This is a straight draw, but not good enough to bet because they'll have an ace that check back a lot, going for pot control against the potential trip 9s. And indeed they do have an ace, and they ship the dip. Nice hand. Queen 6 now on the button. We open. PB defends. We get a king 6-4 rainbow board. We just min bet for value because we figure they can call war 6s and pair of 4s and even ace high, some draws. And what's cool about min betting there is we induce against like complete air, like queen jack. Like Jack 10, I think that could come along, and I think that has a lot of value in just inducing a spaz from air, like a float out of position, and they did indeed call bottom pair. Ace 9 with big blind. Button opens. We defend. Get a king 10-4 to club board. We could call the flop, which is, that's what we do because we just figure they're going to be c-betting light enough. Like they could easily have, worst ace highs, queen high, he has some straight draws, and they just were evaluating second pair, so nice hand. We have 6-10 suited in small blind. We complete. BB checks. We get a 5-6-7 board. We min bet for value. They call. And our middle pair is no good anymore when the turn puts up forward straight. So we just check. And are no good against top pair. Now we have 7-4 suited in the BB. Button opens, we defend, get an ace-jack 3 rainbow board, get a 5 on the turn, gives us a double gut shot, so we bet, and decided to just pull the trigger on the river when the flush gets there. Since we could easily have a jack, we could easily have a flush. And we figured that they could have kings or queens. Could have something like 10s or 9s. Could maybe even have an ace. That decided to pot control and check back the flop. And now isn't too happy about a bet on this board. So that's why we decided to bet here, because, again, we have 7 high. The only way we can win the pot is if we bluff at it. And it just seemed like a good river to do so, because we could easily have a lot of that stuff. Like they can as well, of course. But, it's worth just trying to bet at, because they do have plenty of other hands that have gotten to this river that do not connect with the board very well. So we bet and thankfully take it down. (10-7) in the BB. Facing his button open. And we easily just give up on this ace, jack, deuce board, jack turn, queen river. We still just have 10 high, but we just check it down. And they shuffle their 9s, nice hand. We have king jack on the button. Just gotta mock it against under the, oh what? I guess we thought that they were raising pretty lightly under the gun. And just figured king jack has enough just straight up pair value, because they'll be raising worse kings and jacks and other worse hands. So we call in position. BB calls as well. We get a 10-9-6 2-spade board. We have 2 overs and a straight draw, but it's not good enough to call a slightly less than half pot bet. Yeah, they could easily have over pairs here. And since there's a flush draw out there and we don't have any spades, it takes away some of the value of our hand. Even if we make a pair with a king or a jack or a straight with a queen of spades, there's still a flush out there, plus straights. So our hand isn't that great, so it's just not really worth drawing to, even though we're getting okay odds in position. So just let it go. Now we have ace queen on the cutoff. Facing it open from under the gun. We call to hopefully induce a squeeze all into the small blind, but we just see queen 9 jack board heads up, and they just check fold to our roughly half pot bet with our top pair, top kicker. And we have ace 10 suited under the gun +1. And the button shifts it in for a little less than 20 blind. We easily fold. 4-8, not good enough to defend against this. Under the gun open, under +1 flat. 6-8 suited now in the small blind. Easy fold against the UTG open. Now we have an ace on the button. And that is a standard open. We can get it through. Ace 7 off in the BB. Cut off ship set. 13 blinds, easy fold. 7-6 off in the small one. Got a muck against the button open. Six, 7 suited on the button. Got him up against the CGG open. King's on the cutoff though. Under the gun opens, we shift the dip to look weakest and make it easier for worse pairs to call, but they unfortunately don't have anything, so we just get it through. And then we just raise King 9 under the gun the next hand and shit the bleezies. 6-5 suited in the BB easy. Under the Geezy open, small bleezy, shippy dip, so gotta make it muck. 9-7 off in the BB. King 9 off though. Under the gun plus, oh, but lady raised. That's why, because we raised under the gun before, so why wouldn't we raise under the gun +1? But can't raise, someone else is already open. Now the button opens and we defend the 9-7, can ace 9, 2 spade board, and we easily check call their c-bet. They'll be betting plenty of non-ace hands, you know, meaning that a 9 is going to be best still a fair amount. And whoa, just whoa. So we called the turn because we felt like they were going to be barreling enough. Like there's a flush draw and a second flush draw that turned, plus now there's some straight draws. Like if Buzz Corks has like Jack Queen, King Queen, 7-8, you know, like Jack 8, you know, a lot of hands that can make straights, like straight draws, Buzz Corks will bet them. So that's why we call the turn. And once the river comes, we decide to just turn our hand into a bluff. Do like basically just turn into a bluff, because we figure they are gonna have misdraws sometimes, but like when we check to them, they'll jam those misdraws and make us fold our hand. So we basically take that opportunity away from them, and at the same time put them in a really tough spot when they have an ace, because it looks like we have a flush draw on the flop and on the turn when we check call their bets, and then when the flush comes in on the river, we lead into them with an all-in, and that looks very strong. It looks like we have a flush. It looks like we had a flush draw, we were drawing to it, we binked our flush on the river, and now we are betting large for value. So if they have any ace X here, it's a tough spot for them. I mean, like, I don't think they fold every time, but like, I think they will fold sometimes. So that's the reasoning for our bet here. Don't think it's necessarily best, but there is merit to thinking behind it. It just goes to show you always got to be aware of what your range is, and then, you know, play off of it accordingly depending on the board. Like, if the river was like a 4 of diamonds, I think this is a bad play because we don't really rep much. I mean, we rep an ace, but they'll never fold an ace if we were to do this on a river card that didn't complete a draw. So yeah, this is a really interesting hand. Again, I don't normally play stuff like this. Like, I was in a interesting mood that day. I was just like playing a lot of just spots unconventionally, just playing very aggro. Like, I guess I was in one of those moods where I just didn't care if I busted. Like, I was just trying to do new stuff. Just, yeah, I mean, like, I had an experimental phase for a while where I was deviating from what is GTO, just doing stuff that I knew wasn't exactly, the optimal line, and, was, like, exploitable, but I was doing it in the sense of just trying out new things to see if there's anything that, was worth exploring, and for image skewing purposes, to just paint myself as a very aggro, active player to the rest of the table, so they would just pay me off when I had it in other spots, and also to kind of cultivate that strategy that I was mentioning earlier, I believe, in another video, where I was talking about creating like a new game flow, so to speak. Just changing the dynamic of the table, because like when you introduce yourself as the spewy active guy who's capable of anything and does weird stuff and shows up with hands that you wouldn't expect in certain situations, then you are so much more apt to get action, and people just not believe you in obvious spots where you always have it. They'll just not give you as much credit because they've seen you show down funky stuff before. And I think there's a lot of value in cultivating that kind of image for yourself, and that's basically the basis behind this overly loose style that you guys have seen in this tournament. And yeah, thankfully they hero folded an ace, or just like had some sort of draw, some sort of non-ace hand that they just couldn't call with there. It'd be awesome if we got them to fold like a 10. And we have pocket 5s on the button. And we open it up. BB defends, we get an ace-9 4 rainbow board. We min bet. Whoa, we make a really loose call here. Really loose call. Wow. Whoa, dude, that's too loose in my opinion. Whoa. Yeah, we min bet this ace-9 4 rainbow board. Get check shipped on for like 8 blinds total. Man, dude. I guess we just put, like, we included 4x in their range. But dude, there's no flush draw here. Wow, man. Yeah, this is too loose. I guess we figured they'd be shoving a lot of aces pre, so we could put them on 9x or 4x, and figured that maybe they would just call 9x more and shove 4x more, and maybe have some sort of like 3 deuce, 3 5, 2 5 suited type hands ever. But no, dude, like we'd block both 5s. Yeah, dude, I think this is an overly loose call. I think this is a bad call. But we ended up going for it, and probably just got shown a 9 or an ace. Yeah, they just had an ace. What a surprise. Yeah, I think that's just way too loose of a call. But, we all don't play perfectly. And we get an under the gun open. We shitty dip out the cutoff. Button calls. And we flop set against ace queen and chip the flip. But yeah, I'm really glad that we're going through this hand history, because I did not play this like anywhere close to optimally, and I still won. So it just goes to show that, a lot of variance in poker tournaments. Like, you don't have to play absolutely perfectly to indeed chip all the dip. And it's important to go back and acknowledge when you don't play that great so you can improve for the future. Just because you won doesn't mean you're doing all the right things. Cutoff ships it, and we reship in a small blind the ace high. And our 8 kicker is not as good as their 9. They higgity hold. Get back in this thing. We got 10 to suited in the BB. Facing a limp from the SP, we check behind. And they just bet queen high rainbow board, and we let it go. So we didn't really have much going on there. Ace 4 suited on the button. We open. BB defends, we get a 10-7-8 rainbow board. We'll check back for pot control. A lot of draws out there that they'll check call with or check raise, so we just try and just realize the free equity. And we delay c-bet in the turn. Try and just get some value from our ace high. You know, figure they could have diamonds, they could have 9x, and some other king high, queen high hands. So just try and bet our hand for value and for protection. But we went a little too thin there because yeah, they're certainly gonna still show up with some pairs there. So yeah, just 7x makes sense. Now we have a6 blind versus blind. We shippy dip it after the SB limps. Pretty standard. They'll be wide enough there, and the ace is just going to be good with the sub 20 BB stack size. We open in the SB with ace 10 to induce from the BB stack, and shippy dip it in they do. And we hold their ace 10 against their king queen to ship a significant pot. We have 3-6 on the button. We open, and the BB defends. We get a 10-3 queen rainbow board, so we flop bottom pair. Just min bet for value and to just not give them a free turn. And again, to potentially induce some weird calls and potentially set up barreling opportunities for later. And then we have king 8 here. BB facing this small blind limp. We a little less than 3 exit, take down. We have a6 suited in small blind. Easy open. We could just flat as well, but we just want to get some value from our suited ace, just not let them see a free flop. We have a10 on the button. Easy open. Ship the bleezy. Got 10 king here in the BB. Looks like we just get a walk. 6-8 in the small blind. We limp. BB checks. Got a decent 9-5-2 club board. We min bet with our straight breezy. Get a 10 of clubs on the turn. Puts out 3 to a flush. Check, check. Offsuit ace in the river. And we check. We could bet there, I think. I think we could put up the ace and put, yeah, like, what, 4th pair in a tough spot. Yeah, I think it's a good spot to bluff the river. Ace queen now on the BB. Looks like we just get a walk. 6-8 we raise on the button. Just raising, yeah, a lot of hands, 3-handed. Anything that gets straight, for sure. Especially when we have everyone covered. Queen 3 suited in the BB. Facing at 2.5x, open from the small blind. We get a king 6-3, 2-spade board, queen 3 clubs. We call our bottom pair, and then just fold to the turn barrel. Yeah, it's not really great shape against a lot of hands. 5-9. Let's get muck. 4-3 suited though. We decide to not raise this, surprisingly. I think we should raise that. I guess we decided to fold because the BB has us covered. I think that's a fine reason to fold. 7 jack in the BB, facing a button open. We defend. We get a 9-3-3 rainbow board. Get a queen of the turn. We check, they check. It looks like we just bet out on this 5 river. And take it down. Yeah, looks like we're going for value there. Probably get them to fold ace high sometimes. We have queen 6 in the small blind. We open lamp. PV checks, get an ace 4-2 spade board. We check with the intention of check calling, because we figure queen high to be good. And then we just bet the turn, so we can, protect our queen high equity. And yeah, just try and take it down, not allow them to realize any equity on the river for free. Now, under the gun opens, we flat on the button with 8s to induce a small blind all in. And BB, they don't go all in, BB calls. Get a 8 king deuce 2 spade board on original razor. C-bets, we flat, and then we just check the turn, slow play, and then we bet the river, and they fold. Jack. We raise this under the gun first hand of the tournament, but we still raise it here. Continue our aggro ways, but unfortunately cannot call the cutoff. Should be dip. 4-7 in the BB. It looks like we're at the FT now, guys. This is cool. We decide to ISO to a little less than 3x. 4-7 blind versus blind, just because we have the positional advantage. And we just want to put on the pressure to these shorter stacks when there's ICM considerations. Seven three, not really good enough to limp blind versus blind. We have ace jack now on the button. Under the gun opens, we flat. Figuring that, they'll just have enough worse hands in their range, even though they are under the gun now. So I think this is a rather loose call, especially since they cover us. So yeah, I don't think this is optimal. I think folding is better. But ace jack still is going to be ahead of some of their range, and we are in position, so there is merit to calling. And we bet the flop. If they check to us, they call, and we just check it down. And their 7s are good. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a loose call free. I would say as a standard, it's better to fold ace jack there. Especially because both the blinds could have shifted over the open flat. Ace queen, easy open though. Sticky standard. 10-7 of hearts now in the BB. Facing and open from the cutoff, shift from the button. Ace 7 off on the cutoff. Okay, wow. Yeah, we get a call from the BB. Then we flop queen 6 deuce all clubs board. B bet and take it down. And with this, we're going to conclude part 3 of the $27 6 Max Turbo Progressive KO on PokerStars. Since we are officially at the FT, we got lights. So we are going to just conclude the hand history review with a final table video. So hope you guys have enjoyed thus far and have learned a thing or two in these 3 parts of this hand history review, and hope that you come back for the FT review and continue to be entertained, or at the very least informed. And yeah, see you guys then.